On a wintry day, I reckon you can't go past a good old-fashioned cuppa. But did you know that the cup of tea we drink comes from the camellia plant? Because the Chinese discovered that if you steep the leaves of Camellia sinensis in hot water, you got a most refreshing drink. Bottoms up. Australians have embraced the camellia with a great deal of enthusiasm. Although they're generally recognised as being a cool climate plant, gardeners in the warm climates can attain success if they choose species such as sasanquas, japonicas and some of the hybrid cultivars. Growing camellias in a warm climate isn't all beer and skittles, and it could be associated with the fact that we're probably at the top end of the climatic zone for the plant. After all, they do like cold climates. One of the problems we get is where a caterpillar chews off the top of the bud and it gets very unsightly and doesn't open. It also chews the leaf too. Doesn't happen a lot, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Another bud problem is this thing that some people call bullnosing, and you can see where the bud splits at the back and it tips over. This is associated with changes in temperature or climate, so there's nothing much you can do about that either. Something you can do something about is the mite, and you can see how the centre of the leaf has been discoloured. This insect has sucked the chlorophyll out all along the central vein. Now, mites love dry climates, so to keep it under control, mist up under the leaves and over the top and keep the humidity high. That should keep it under control. A thing that's very hard to control is a problem called bud balling, and here you get a bud that gets about that size, or it might even get to that stage and never opens anymore. The first thing you must do is go over the bush and rip off half the buds. Just twist them off in your thumb and forefinger. Takes some doing, but it's worthwhile. A teaspoon of Epsom salts and 5 litres of water, spread that around the bush. That might also help. But if all else fails, it could be the location, and the location's absolutely important with camellias. The aspect will often influence the flowering of your camellia. There's two schools of thought. One says that if you have a dark flower colour, give it some afternoon sun, and if it's a light flower colour, then don't give it any sun at all, put it in the shade. But there are some that'll say it depends on the cultivars, so you might have to experiment a little. As soon as your camellia is finished flowering, give it a good prune back. Just shorten it back, don't worry too much about it, because you can't do any harm. If you're in doubt as to what sort of fertiliser to use, the best one is an azalea and camellia fertiliser, because that's got just the right balance of nutrients. Just sprinkle it over the mulch, and here you can see we've got some sugarcane mulch, and that's wonderful stuff. Now, if you're using a chemical fertiliser, well, you don't have to scratch the mulch away, but if it's an organic one, scratch the mulch away so you put it directly on the soil. Another thing that's important for camellias is this stuff here. Now, you've heard Peter Cundall talk about it. It's dolomite. It's full of calcium and magnesium, and the magnesium's vital. Never ever put it on at the same time as your fertiliser. Leave about 6 to 8 weeks, and then a light dusting around your camellia work wonders. There are some great varieties for warm climates. Let's look at a few of them. One of the hardier camellias for warm climate gardens is Star Above Star. This has often been sold as a sasanqua cultivar, but it's more correctly known as Camellia cross vernalis. Camellia japonica, debutante, with its delicate pink flowers, is possibly one of the best known camellias of all. Prince Frederick William is another japonica type, and its formal double flower has won it a lot of friends. Some camellias also carry fragrant flowers. This hybrid, fragrant pink, is a cross between Camellia rusticana and Camellia luciensis. Another hybrid camellia has the cultivar name of Sweet Jane, and this has been chosen as the Camellia of the Year for the year 2000. Camellia Red Rose has got a lovely bright red flower which will appeal to many, as will the pink flowers of another hybrid, Happy Holidays. If growing camellias in a hanging basket, you'll need to use a good quality, free draining potting mix, just the same as you would if you grew them in a container. Camellias lend themselves so well to tub culture, where they'll flower just as prolifically as their in-ground relatives. The larger the tub the better, and treat them to some fertiliser from time to time at lighter rates than for those in the ground. So there you have it. The camellia truly is the queen of the winter flowers, and if you follow those few simple rules, you'll get hours of enjoyment from them in your garden no matter where you live.